I want to close with you on this point. Actually, I wanted to draw back to Palestine. Why? Because for us, it's difficult to understand one thing, and I don't know how much you have to say about that. But what is the perception of the conflict, of the war, of the genocide from the Russian perspective? How do you see Russia is upholding international law? Is that the official position of Russia? Because it also has a very distinct relationship with Israel at the same time. So how do you see, Russian position vis-a-vis what is happening right now in Gaza?
Well, Russia's been very openly very critical of Israel. They even started to openly contest some of the legitimacy they're claiming. So, for example, saying that just because a horrific genocide was committed against the Jews in Europe, it doesn't give the green card to commit one against the Palestinians. So they kind of went very hard after the Israelis. I think this is quite unusual for both historical and strategic reasons, because historically, of course, Israel and Russia was always somewhat close. Ever since the Russians liberated the Jews from Auschwitz and all of this, they always, I don't know, I yeah, I remember talking to various Israeli leaders as well, who kind of confirmed, yeah, we always saw Russia in special light because of this, but and this was to a large extent reciprocated by the Russians. However, I think two things have happened here. One would be they the scale of this. I think that shook the Russians as well. The amount of destruction taking place in Gaza. But also, second was the betrayal they felt over Ukraine, because the Israelis were sending trainers, weapons, and effectively, killing Russians. So this is, I think, a lot of love was lost on that area. But but beyond that, I think I was a bit surprised, because uh, we often get used to these alliance systems, which it's quite common for hegemonic power to do, to use alliance system. This is also, by the way, very detrimental to have peacetime military alliances, because it's very destabilizing. But this is what a hegemon would do, to divide and conquer you. Some are dependent on you, and the other one is weakened. So in the Middle East, you want to make the Arabs dependent on you to weaken the Iranians, and then you dominate. But the Chinese and Russians, they kind of pursued a different approach with the SEEK, this Eurasian integration format. But then they need to get along with everyone, and this is so they want to get along with Iran. But if they get close to Iran, they also have to get close to the Saudis. The Russians are doing the same. They want to be close to India, then they also have to be close to Pakistan, and this is why you saw the Chinese had a better peace potential in the Middle East, because they want to integrate with the whole region. Well, then they have to make peace between the Saudis and Iranians and the other Arabs. So they have always. So this is the path that the Russians were going. My point was the Russians do not want to alienate the Israelis, but I think the destruction and the betrayal in Ukraine is something that really changed that calculation to a large extent.